Keep it going. Keep it going. Because at the end of the day, I'm proud of myself for getting up here and doing what I feel I need to do. Just because anybody didn't join the Zoom or just wasn't able to connect with me in any other ways, I'm still going to get out here and put the message out there and bring awareness because that's what it's about. And once the information is out there, then you have the opportunity to basically choose what you want to do with that information being shared. So, I'm gonna just go back a little bit because I did hit the recording on my Zoom. And like I said, this information is accredited by the Journey, the Center of Safety and Healing, and Spark, which stands for Stalking Prevention and Awareness, and Resource Center. And we're just talking briefly on it. This isn't going to be long, but I do want to talk about it on a metaphysical level as well. Um, so stalking is a pattern directed towards a specific person that will cause reasonable person to feel fear for the person's safety or the safety of others, suffering substantial emotional distress. And like, I want y'all to be honest, like, who has even most recently discovered that they may have stalkers from social media to family to work to the metaphysical? Like, seriously, I know I have. And that's why I was like, wow, like now that I have this keen sense of awareness, I need to put this awareness out there because it could save somebody's life. It's scary, y'all, but ain't no need to be scared. So here are the tactics experienced by stalking victims, and we're going to go from different perspectives, and as well from male, a percentage of female and male. So unwanted phone calls, you got about 76% for females and 75% of males. That's a huge number right there. That's the top number of unwanted phone calls, which it ain't just spam calls calling us, y'all, and basically stalking us. It's a whole world out there, and you just come across it. But let's consider those spam calls like stalking, right? It's at an all-time high. Now, the second one would be approached or showed up. So anybody that may come to your home, anybody who may just pop up on you, you know what I'm saying, like in a weird sporadic way. That's 61% in females and 49% in males. So it's a little bit percentage gap right there, but it's still pretty high. Followed or watched, like, and this is real creepy. This is stalker behavior. People people who you may not know, from online to real life circumstances, including the metaphysical. And please be mindful that I am continuous to say the metaphysical, because if you choose to join in any time of this, know that the deeper level may be for you and not just the surface level. But we connect with everybody. We leave nobody behind, no soul behind. We're going to bring awareness to all. And like I said, once the information is out there, you decide what you should do with that. Um, the next one will be sent messages or emails. That's 56% and for women and 60% for males. So that's a high number. And then as far as sending gifts, cards, and letters, that is the lowest, but it's still pretty high. And it says 30% women receive gifts, cards, and letters from their stalkers. 16% of males get that type of energy, gifts, cards, and letters from women. We got it continued. So it says sneaking into home or car or left a sign of their presence. Like, that's deep, yo. Like, how would you really feel if, like when you watching these movies, and let's be honest, we all like a good horror movie or whatever, every now and then. I know I do. It just keeps me up, like from the Force 48 and all that other jazz. But it's real, y'all. 23% for women and 21% for males. The next one is use GPS technology to track location. That's 17% for females and 21% for males. And I just gotta say, like, those air tags, those things, like if you ever have an inkling that someone is doing these type of things to you, don't second guess it. Don't let your mind logic override your gut feelings, because if these things come across your mind, your inner self, that's your higher self speaking to you. That's God, your angels, they're speaking to you, and like, hey, something ain't right. And you should definitely check into it. And don't feel afraid or alone, because as you see these numbers, this situation and circumstances are very much real. So now we got left strange, threatening items like, oh, I want you to know, like, I'm stalking you and just being weird and creepy, like 14% for females, 16% for males. Now, can y'all see how these numbers are starting to like flip flop? Pay attention. Spy remotely through technology. So that's 9% for women and 12% for men. Like, it's pretty bogus, yo. Pretty bogus. So stalking, prevalence, nearly one of every three women experience stalking, and nearly every one of six men experience stalking in their lifetime. So, I mean, like, y'all can't tell me that y'all haven't had some type of keen sense or inkling that something didn't feel right about a person, place, or thing. And even if you didn't follow up with it, this is why this information is here. So we can forgive ourselves and put things behind us and have this information to not only bring awareness to ourselves and face those fears and release those fears and reset our nervous system, but as well, just make sure that we're bringing awareness to our family, especially our children, our loved ones, and our community, because we are all connected. We all come from the same source. And even though people still do some of this wicked ish, is it's here. So why not be aware of it and know that you can face this and you're not alone? Okay, so stalking is dangerous. Stalking often occurs with physical assault and sexual violence, including rape. 20% of stalkers use weapons to threaten or harm victims. 76 of intimate partners femicides, including stalking in the year prior. So basically, stalking increases the risk of intimate partnerships homicides by 3%. That's very detrimental, y'all. That's very diabolical, and that's very detrimental. I myself have experienced something like this, and this is why I honestly wanted to bring awareness to this situation. And it's not to you know expose anybody, but to expose this topic. Expose the fact of the matter is that when you are in relationships with people and you don't no longer want to be in those relationships, you have to be mindful of a person's emotional and mental state, because these things can happen, and you're never a victim and you're never alone, but you have the right to speak up and voice yourself, especially if you told a person to leave you alone. And no, people have to understand that boundaries are set for a reason, and people will find any kind of way to overstep your boundaries. Now, you may not have been a person that may have had boundaries in the past, but you may be a person who's new to setting firmer boundaries for yourself, and that's completely okay. But this is why I'm sharing this information, because I don't want people to feel victimized out here for certain things that are completely out of our control. Even if you may have given a person numerous of times, and to just exit out your life and close things out in love. People don't understand certain things like that. People are used to toxicity. People are used to things just being in a chaotic type of way. And you're not the fault of that. You're not the blame of that. So me being transparent and sharing my experience, and sharing this awareness with you guys through these resources. I'm really hoping that, you know, you guys take this awareness seriously because you just never know, you know? Well, so they do have a graph right here, and this is just from victims and offenders relationship. Now, y'all just heard that was a high number for feminicide, for people getting out of intimate relationships and they turning into homicide. You know, it's it's very it's, I don't even have a word for it right now, but because I want to stay focused, but it's very unnecessary and cause for it. But for current and former intimate partners, you have, and I'm going to share the female perspective and the male perspective, of course. 43% for females, 32% for males. Then you have acquaintances, those people who you barely really know, you might have just came across, might be on your social media or something, you know, acquaintances. You have 41% for females victims and 44% for male victims. Wow, right? Then you have strangers. You have that at 19% for female victims, and then you have 20% for male victims. So, then you got brief encounters. Like, you know, people have beautiful spirits, beautiful souls out here. And a lot of people aren't used to really coming across genuine, authentic people, which is, you know, we're raising the vibration of the collective and humanity. So we can step out of that. But here it is for brief, you know, brief encounters. 8% for female victims, 9% for male victims. And then check this out. Family members. Who else has been stalked by a family member, whether if it's in your real lifetime or on social media? You get what I'm saying? 9% female victims, 6% male victims. And then you have person of authority. And that can honestly be like your boss, your, you know, somebody who you're doing business with. Uh, Look, if y'all in the chat or anything, put some persons of authority, who are claiming to be of authority in the chat, so y'all can share, so people can know more of what that looks like. The only thing that came off the top of my head is honestly like a boss or something, you know, like just somebody who just don't understand, like, because you're in this position that you think you're entitled to a person's time and energy, and that's not okay. So you got 4% for female victims and 3% for male victims. And that is the percentage ratio for victims and offenders relationships. And these are relationships, y'all. Whether if it's acquaintance, strangers, brief encounters, family members, former or current intimate partners, personal authorities, this is happening. So, again, stalking is dangerous. And the fact that, you know, when I found this out, there was a lady by the name of, and I'm going to try to put some resources in the chat for y'all, just to follow up. But they do have, I'm going to close this. I don't need that. I'm going to copy this link, and then I'm going to put it in the live chat for y'all. Okay. That's some helpful resources right there. You may want to pass that along. Um, And another helpful resource is www. Another resource. As promised, and this just feels good for me to know, like, turning lemons into lemonade and not being a victim, and taking your power back from these serious um accusations that have been injustices against many of us, whether if we wanted to talk about it or not. I just want you to know that you're not alone. And, you know, I did have a call to action into they had like just a proposal, like, standing and agreeing, like, if you know anybody that's witnessing these things or experiencing these things, or even yourself, to make a pledge to, to honor yourself, to not let these circumstances victimize you, and speak your truth. It's very healing, it's very therapeutic. And of course, forgive yourself. Sometimes we blame ourselves for just being the, awesome being that we are, giving people love, showing people affection and kindness, not in a space that we're trying to overstep our own boundaries, but it's just the universal consciousness, the universal love language. And, I myself, I've been there before where I've, you know, not put myself in them type of positions, but I had to be mindful of the company around me and the people who I was pouring my kindness into, so just forgive yourself. And if you ever would need some support, and I'm gonna put my email in the chat as well for anybody who would like to follow up and connect with me one on one. Um, here's my website and my email. And like I said, you're not alone. And you can email me, or you can directly connect with me on my website. It'll probably redirect you to my email. But yes, so that was pretty short and simple and straight to the point. But like I said, I did wanted to honestly share the reason for me not only experiencing these type of dynamics, but there was a lady who was actually murdered behind this situation. And I'ma just um I'm gonna play the video. I don't know if y'all will be able to hear it, but this is in honor and memory of her, as well as other victims who have, and I don't even want to call them victims, just other people who didn't unfortunately get the chance to live to share their moment, to speak their truth, and to bring their awareness on the situations that they have experienced. So maybe y'all can hear it. It is a YouTube video um from the Spark Prevention Awareness Resource Center. But yeah, so her name was Peggy Kigler. She was murdered in 2003. It said Her sister Debbie Riddler began speaking about Peggy's case and helped found National Stalker Awareness. So this is basically how this information came about, and it's in honor of her. Say Peggy had sparkling personality and it would light up the room like most of us, and they're basically telling her story. I wish I could share this with y'all. But the information is for you already listed there. Go follow up um with the stalkerawareness.org. This video will be there. It's very short. Um, as the stalking continued and continued, we saw that shine fade. Like, please don't let nobody take your shine behind something that you feel embarrassed or ashamed about because you're not alone. Stalking activist Peggy's sister and founder of, and this is so dope. Like her sister, this is how you turn the lemons into lemonade. Like her sister became an activist and speaking on her behalf because she's no longer here. Her stalker actually um unalived her. That's what I want to say. So I can continue to keep my recording on YouTube. And this is the anniversary of her unalive. Let's bring back the sparkle for Peggy and for all of those victims and survivors of stalking. Okay? And I'm gonna put a hashtag. I'm gonna put a hashtag in there and get this going. All right, y'all. So now that I have gotten that out and I'm still live streaming, it's 30 minutes into the live stream. This is on a different wave and frequency of the awareness of Stalking Awareness Month. And I'm just being mindful right now of this type of awareness. So you don't have to answer out loud, but you can reflect if you choose. What helps you feel grounded when your peace feels disturbed? What does healthy boundaries look like for what does healthy boundaries feel like in your body? And this is an invite. This is no force because I want to talk about it a little bit on a metaphysical level. I want to be very clear. Spiritual awareness should never blame victims or excuse harmful behavior. True spirituality restores choice, clarity, and self-trust. Responsibility always belongs to a person choosing the behavior, not the person experiencing it. So yeah, y'all. Take a gentle 30 seconds to just breathe, and be mindful because I'm pretty sure that was a lot of information to just go over. You may have had some thoughts or intels or even memories, but keep in mind what I did just say. Um, and if it feels okay, like I said, take that slow breath and release it in and out. And remind yourself, I have the right to peace. I have the right to boundaries, seen and unseen. And awareness isn't about fear, guys. It's about reminding who you are and choosing yourself again. So, if anyone's feeling heavy and, wants to be able to connect with me, my information is down in the chat. Thank you for trusting me in this space. Let's pause and ground together because I was like really, really like not nervous, but just I'm grateful. I'm very grateful because a lot of people don't survive through these things, not just, living, but being able to heal through these things. And I am currently healing in real time. And this is how I do it by gathering information and resources and sharing them with awareness, not with force. But thank you for trusting me in this space. What matters most is how this affects your sense of safety. Nothing about spirituality or, the metaphysical level or even surface level means you invite harm into your life. It's uncalled for. No human being or anyone should experience these things, but unfortunately we do. Let's bring back to the power. Let's bring back to empowerment and choice. Wow, that was good, y'all. All right, I'm gonna tap off now. And if you ever run across this video and it brought some helpful insight and awareness to you, I thank you. And give me a like, give me a subscribe, um, as well as, you know, heart it up, hype it up. If you like more information like this from a surface level to a metaphysical level, bringing awareness to situations that we don't have to feel ashamed about. But I encourage you all to take it easy and be gentle with yourselves and forgive yourselves. All is well. Peace. Ooh, excuse me. I did it! Hey! I want to watch it now.